So, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, but as Doctor Doom instead of Iron Man. And that's what really encoding overload already just from the start, just from running. I need a better laptop. But yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is back as Iron Man. Or, but not as his Iron Man's variant Doctor Doom, I guess. I mean, well, first off, it's kind of shitty that, they're clearly going to be cutting out the Romani heritage of Doctor Doom, although at this point I'm kind of expecting that to happen. Like, they didn't do any of that with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and I don't think they've ever done it, at least in terms of actor, with Magneto, although I could be, well, Jewish on that side, but you know what I mean. Like, that's bad, but it's not unexpected bad. But yeah, Doctor Doom is now a variant of Iron Man for some reason. Robert Downey Jr. is a good actor, and I do think he could do a good Doctor Doom, but this just, it screams so much of desperation of, okay, we put all of our eggs in the basket of Jonathan Majors, and then Quantum Mania was terrible, and he got arrested for domestic abuse. So, well, it appears we have some emergency glass break-in case of emergency here. I guess Iron Man. We've got an Iron Man. He's a man who's iron, made of iron. He's the man. That's his man. Iron Man is Iron Man. Like, yeah, okay, sure, I guess. Just have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in this, or as Doctor Doom. Iron Man. I mean, to be fair, like, you could do a dark reflection of how he portrayed Tony Stark, as make Doctor Doom just heightened control freak nature, heightened obsession with control, but also it screams of desperation, and it's like, quick, what will get people back to the theaters because we're floundering? Iron Man, okay. And it does make the end of Quantum Mania, where it's like, ooh, the new big bad. There's an army of Kangs coming. No, Kangs died on the way back to their home timeline, or maybe they got killed by Loki. Maybe if they're smart, they would do like, Doctor Doom was chosen from another universe to take out Kang, but he's even more dangerous. I don't fucking know. And it's so fitting that this happened, like, right after Deadpool and Wolverine, where in that one they have a joke that they're gonna make Chris Evans do Marvel movies till he's fucking 90, and apparently Robert Downey Jr. Or some people are speculating they must have offered him like $100 million, like just all the money on the planet to come back and do this. Although maybe they just enjoy it. Maybe like the guys who did 10 Marvel superheroes enjoy being in Marvel superhero movies, is why they're coming back. I don't know. And I know that in this cave in Victory Road, there's the final silver battle, and I haven't looked that up. I don't know what level he is. I don't know how strong his Pokemon are. But this team has been too stable since we got to Kanto, so let's just lose some Pokemon. Yeah, I don't... Wow, it's just the moment you go in, just like that. Okay. I can't turn down my fucking video settings anymore. I don't know what's inconsistent, why it doesn't work half the damn time. I don't know. Hold on, maybe if I close out of this thingy, close some windows, maybe that'll help. I don't know. But oh, this is gonna be a joke. He's got level 46. Oh, you're a joke, Silver. It isn't because your Pokemon are weak. In fact, you've got a pretty good selection of Pokemon. It's that you are weak, which is why your father Giovanni left you. Because you were a loser, and all your Pokemon are gonna die to my Golem. And then we finish out some last routes, and then we do the Kanto boss rush, and we do the Elite Four rematch, and then we do Red. And actually, no, in between that, I'm gonna do another boss rush against all the gym leaders, because you can do that. Let's see. So, Futurama's back, and I wasn't super impressed with the last season of Futurama that we got. And admittedly, the pilot of, or not pilot, just the first episode of this new batch of new Futurama, as long as that doesn't crit, I'm fine. Ha! I'm stronger. Eat shit. I wasn't impressed with the Bender NFT episode, because, like, the problem is that there's animation lead time. Like, it takes a long time to make animation. So if you try to do topical, you're going to end up making your NFT video in 2024, even though NFTs collapse and stop being a thing in 2021. It's super out of date. It's not topical anymore. And to be fair, it's not like trying to be topical and like, ooh, what's the new fad that we're gonna make fun of is a new thing for Futurama. Like, they did that iPhone episode, but at least that had the joke that it's literally iPhones. They did an Obama birth certificate episode where at least they had the joke that actually he doesn't have a birth certificate because he's a Terminator-style time traveler. Like, but this is just NFTs. It's like they learned about NFTs and then they read off a Wikipedia summary of what NFTs are and how they work. Although, I do think it's not a super funny joke, but they were realistic with how NFTs work, where they try and steal from the museum and like that's not how that works. An NFT, it's essentially what NFTs are, is that they're those fucking star chart, like, ooh, I own this star in the sky because I paid someone to write down that I did. That's what this NFT is. It's just your name on a ledger that says that you own something. So you can't fucking steal it because unless you change the ledger, but also who gives a shit? You don't own the digital image, you just own it being written down somewhere that you own it. That you own the link. Its NFTs are so fucking stupid. They were so fucking stupid. I mean, even like the last batch's crypto episode was better, where it's like crypto in the Wild West, and that it wasn't a great episode, but at least it's trying to do something interesting with the topic instead of just like, hey, have you heard that these NFTs are a thing? Yeah, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Also had Bender going to Mexico and meeting his family, and I would hope that would be good. I'd really hope that would have been funnier, but it was just kind of bland and forgettable, which is a shame. And it was weirdly Aztec themed, which, I mean, Mayan themed. Well, those two things are often treated as interchangeable in American media, which was interesting. It wasn't really super Mexican themed, but I mean, at least that was something interesting, although it was just kind of bland, and you could see the human sacrifice thing coming a mile away, or I guess the Bender sacrifice, because he's a robot. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for this season of Futurama. I think maybe Futurama should stay dead. But I don't know. Maybe there'll be good episodes. I think I remember the All the Way Down episode was at least interesting last season, and there were a handful of jokes in specific episodes I liked. I really liked the Christmas one where it's like time traveling with Santa. That one was good, at least. I think it's just gonna be kind of bland. And that reminds me, what is the point of this fucking ladder? Why does it exist? Like, what is the point of that whole little area? Like, not the park. I know you can, like, do a Clefairy event and get a Moonstone at the night. But that there's two ladders that lead to the same place, like, 5 feet away from each other. Why? That's just weird. And I'm gonna get a Clefairy or a Paris before I leave this, although I don't plan to use either of them. And what's it gonna be? Another Zubat, another fucking Zubat. I love Zubat. You love Zubat, you love Zubat. But anyway, as I'm editing, I'm hard at work on my second Batman video essay about fascism, and it's the Batman, and it's the Joker, and it's the should he killed the Joker, and why am I doing fucking Bill Cosby? But I'm almost done. Or, why did I say almost done? I'm like a quarter done with editing the second part of that. And as I'm editing, I've been rewatching old Simpsons episodes. And I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I'm definitely at some point going to do a video. I think the sample title that I have on my plans listed out there in the corner, top right corner of your screen right now, is "You couldn't make old Simpsons today," just to be the clickbaity. I don't want to fucking zoom out. That's what I think I'll do, because they're just, old Simpsons is weird. It's a lot more idealistic and touchy-feely and very, very religious. They pray a lot on old Simpsons, and I don't actually care about that. I don't think there's any moral weight to that. I just think it's interesting because they don't do that very often. Like in later Simpsons, the fact that, I was hoping it'd be a Clefairy because Paris is just awful. In later Simpsons episodes, the fact that they are a Christian family is essentially just window dressing. It doesn't really matter at all, and I don't really care either way. But there is one episode that I've always fucking hated. This episode, it's a terrible episode that really rubs me the wrong way. It's called Homer and Lisa versus the Eighth Commandment, and it's an episode that they won't make today, and honestly they probably shouldn't make it today, just playing it completely straight with this moralizing Christian, like, if you don't follow orders, you go directly to hell for all eternity, which is what you fucking deserve. So the plot of it is that Homer starts stealing cable, which is dope as shit and awesome. Like, they even have a joke where Lisa's like, "Dad, stealing is stealing." False. It's stealing from faceless corporations who don't have souls, so who gives a shit? And you're right, Homer. Steal cable. Who fucking cares? Like, just who gives a shit about fucking stealing cable? But the plot of it is that Lisa goes to church, and in Sunday school they say, "Now, remember the Eighth Commandment. If you steal, you go to hell where you are tortured for all eternity like you deserve to be. You will burn and you will suffer." And Lisa, who's fucking 8 years old, she's a kid. She's very much a kid in this episode. It's the star of Lisa being this moralizing, more mature to everyone, but it's also her having a kid's perspective in it, which is honestly a nice balance that they did a lot in early Simpsons, with Lisa feeling like a child. But yeah, and Lisa starts freaking out, and she has nightmares of burning in hell and being tortured. And she's like, we gotta stop stealing cable because God is going to torture us for this. We are going to go to hell. I am going to go to hell because my father steals cable. And like, a child shouldn't be thinking those things. That's a horrible thing. That's a horrible, horrible thing to say to a child and put in her head. Like, I feel like the good ending of the episode, how you should do it, is explain to Lisa that it's fucking cable. You're not going to hell because your father steals cable. And also, if you did, then that would mean Jesus Christ was an evil piece of shit who deserved to be shot in the head. Like, Jesus. It's not a big deal. It's just cable. That's how it should. But at the end, it's like, Lisa's right, that she is going to go to hell if we steal cable, so we're going to stop stealing cable. We've learned our lesson about being good Christians and obeying authority without question, even if it doesn't make sense, because we understand that God is evil and hateful and will be violent to us if we ever question him. And that's not really how it frames it. Like, the Sunday school teacher isn't talking about cable. It's mostly in Lisa's head, but it's not... It bugs me that it isn't an episode that ends with Lisa being told, "You're not going to go to hell because your father steals cable." Like, it's an episode that supports the idea that she is right, that what Homer's doing is horrifically evil, and that Lisa deserves to be brutalized for it, that Jesus deserves to do his sadistic torture of her. And honestly, this is getting into my own fucking deals with religion, that this was the thing that burnt me out on Christianity, that so much of it, there's so much of my childhood is be a good Christian and go to church or pray in Jesus and believe in him, or he will hurt you, which is what you deserve. You are worthless. You are a worthless, terrible piece of shit who deserves to suffer. You deserve to be hurt. But if you beg for forgiveness, Jesus might forgive you. He might forgive you for your sin of existing, and he might decide to spare you his torture that he does for his own amusement. Like, I really don't fucking like Christianity, to be honest. And I'm just projecting my own religious problems with The Simpsons, but it's just, I really don't like that episode. I feel bad for Lisa. I think that Sunday school teacher told her horrible things and treated her horribly. Like, and there is another episode, I haven't gone to it on my rewatch yet, but I think it's called Homer the Heretic, where Homer stops going to church, and also who gives a shit? I mean, Christians give a shit, and the dogma is torture forever, all eternity, but also God talks to Homer and says it's okay, so Homer's not doing anything wrong. At the end of the episode, it's like, actually, Homer, you are a bad person for not going to church and need to start going to church again, because you were saved by a Jewish man and a Hindu man. Wait, what? No, shut the fuck up. No, that doesn't track. That none of that adds up to be sensical. Like, either Homer has to be a Christian, and that's like the center of morality, or it's okay to have other religions. Like, you can't say, like, you need to go to church and be a Christian, Homer, and also it's fine that Apu and Krusty are not Christians. Like, choose one or the other. You can't choose both. The ending of that episode is nonsensical. It is utterly perplexing. Yay, mine. Well, it was this or plus, so I'm fine with mine. And like, that episode is what? That's all I can think is what? And the other old Simpsons episode that really kind of bugged me is Mrs. or is it called Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington, which is that's not accurate, but also I get it's because it's play on Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where it's about government corruption and how it doesn't actually exist in the US and is sorted out by our good United States government. Like, Lisa says, hey, this politician took a bribe, and he's immediately removed from office by George Bush? Like, fucking George Bush? Like, and that's not what happens in real life. The United States government is famously corrupt, and nothing happens. There's no consequences for corruption in the United States. And later Simpsons episodes, they are very cynical and would make fun of that. Would have, like, Lisa exposes the corruption and then someone say, who cares, and just move on. But no, it is an episode where Lisa exposes corruption, and then it gets sorted out, so we don't have to worry. So the Simpsons don't have to worry about government corruption anymore. And it's just, it ends with fucking George Bush. It ends with George Bush, like, Stewart, like, famed man who hated corruption so much, like, taking out the corruption. George Bush, same year that fucking episode came out, pardoned his Iran-Contra co-conspirators. He said, actually, these men are allowed to break the law because they did it while assisting me, famed criminal George Bush. And, like, George Bush fucking hated The Simpsons for his whole life and was very vocal about it, because they had an episode where they portrayed him as being an out-of-touch, boring old man. But also they had an episode where it's like, man, our glorious leader George Bush, isn't he great? How non-corrupt he is? Like, and he hated The Simpsons? What the fuck? Like, that was... So, like, you ever see, like, photos of North Korea that are, like, that, and people have, like, framed photos of Kim Jong-un in their house, and Americans are like, these poor backwards brainwashed savages that just worship their government and their leaders, and OMG, George Bush! Like, that's the equivalent of that episode. And fucking Nelson. Holy shit, that, like, I mean, it's topical because genocidal mass murdering war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu was invited to speak before Congress this last week, and someone got mad about it and burned an American flag, and the country lost their fucking mind. These people who did not care even slightly about 40,000 human beings, more than 10,000 of them fucking children, murdered by Benjamin Netanyahu. They didn't give a shit. No one fucking gave a shit because they weren't white, and these goddamn white supremacists don't give a shit about murdered children. But someone burned a flag? Like, I saw a fucking Reddit post. I don't care about what your feelings are on Palestine. You have to agree that this isn't who gives a shit? Like, oh no, they burned the symbol of the genocidal mass murdering fascist empire. Don't you respect our child murdering soldiers? Like, they worked really hard to murder children in Iraq and Vietnam for the sake of oil companies in the former case. Like, you're disrespecting them by burning a cloth. You burning a piece of cloth. You burned a piece of cloth. This is worse than genocide. How dare you burn that flag? This isn't abhorrent. Our new vice president, most likely candidate, I would wager at this point, like Kamala Harris, fucking, she condemned it. She's like, well, hold on, this is terrible. She gave a harder condemnation to someone burning a piece of fabric to Netanyahu burning countless children alive with missiles. Like, what a fucking joke. Like, if you feel any emotion at all when you see a burnt American flag, put yourself in a fucking mental hospital. Like, you need therapy. There is something broken in your head. You're not right. You need to talk to a therapist. Like, Jesus, it's a piece of fucking fabric. Grow the fuck up. And anyway, why I'm bringing this up is that Nelson Muntz, famed bootlicker, like, that is not a character trait I knew that Nelson had, was that he was a propagandized bootlicker who loves the United States government. He's like, if you want to burn the flag, better burn your house too, because if it wasn't for our glorious soldiers murdering civilians to prop up the United States empire, there wouldn't be houses, I guess. Like again, that is an episode that is on par with the fucking pictures of Kim Jong-un in people's houses. It is a terrible fucking episode that I hate. It is unbearable that fucking it is just several minutes of children's speeches about why we should not question the United States government because it's so awesome. I just love the government so much. Like, oh, and the climax is Lisa talking to great American president who definitely wasn't a serial child rapist, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, the man who hated freedom with every ounce of his body. It is hard to think of a person historically who hated freedom as much as Thomas Jefferson. Talks about how great America is. He saved this country. He fought for freedom. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson deserved to be shot in the head. Anyway, yeah, I don't like those 2 episodes of The Simpsons, and I kind of got out of. I'll be more eloquent when I make the video, but genuinely, if you feel any sadness at all at seeing an American flag burned, talk to a fucking therapist. There is something wrong with you. And let's read comments, and I shrunk down the comment reader. What I name Pokemon after are Brumeister. Vriska's revival is by far the worst thing ever. You are so right. I've warmed up on Vriska's revival, by the way. I think it's very flawed thing, but like as I'm working on like this Terezi video, I'm liking the retcon more and more because I'm starting to view it like it was bad for a lot of character development, but as the cornerstone of John's development and Terezi's development. I finished reading Homestuck literally hours before writing this, and after getting a little teary-eyed over the ending and the credits, I was left wondering, why in John's name? Why John's name? Vriska's also odd. Is Vriska the answer to solve literally every problem ever inside the Doom glitchy super cartridge session? She isn't really special and like the chosen one to save her. The reason it's Vriska is because Terezi feels guilt over having killed her. That's why it's Vriska. That's the reason. The entire Vriska Graham bit was a bit endearing and cute. Really felt like a hastily put together sitcom flashback. It's kind of supposed to be like that, admittedly. Moment that stuck to me this struck me as superficial and flip-offy to the narrative's direction. The whole password thing was really cool, I thought, if not a bit lazy, and I think it would have been cool if Terezi fixed her Gamzee problem using it. But nope. Hey, shut the fuck up. Terezi does fix her Gamzee problem. She uses it to fix her Gamzee problem, and also, like, Vriska saves Terezi. Yes, because Terezi chose Vriska, chose to bring her back into her life. Terezi is the one who saved Terezi by deciding to completely stop her from ever seeing Gamzee, because she went to Gamzee when she was grieving losing Vriska. So I know Vriska's ability to just be anywhere she wanted was also really weird. Yeah, I'll admit that. I don't know, I just thought her sudden involvement with Mina and her ghost army was strange and haphazard, but I guess it did end with Vriska not getting the spotlight she was crafting her whole life, so that's neat, I guess. Bottom line, William Vriska Afton was an awful choice, and yeah, what does this have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's? Just saying, same. Andrew Hesse has a knack for making me miss such great symbolism. When Dave broke Dirk's katana using Cowled Fulch, I honestly didn't even notice until watching this video. Damn you, Andrew, why didn't you put more emphasis on that? There's enough emphasis, it's good. And hold on, I don't have time to pick up another name. I'll do Dan is silly for this Pikachu. GS Sable said, Broke, John is the main character of Homestuck, Woke, Jade, Bespoke, all the protagonists, God tier Dave. No, it's still John. Like, it's an ensemble piece, but John is more contributed. John gets more screen time, contributes more to the story and its themes, and is the centerpiece of the ending of it. Like, John's the main character of Homestuck, and Dan is silly. Having read the epilogues without the fandom opinions was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. I read Homestuck in 2020 and never interacted with the fandom prior. When it gets bad, it gets really bad, and some of the parts I did find boring, but some of the ideas are the coolest thing ever. My favorite characters are Jahan, the two of them, and Dirk, duh, so cool in general. I agree, but it is kind of, like, obvious, like, my favorite characters in the epilogues are the two main characters of the epilogues who the story is focused on. Also, like, to be fair, I agree, but also, yeah, I also really, the person, really like Roxy and, specifically the Candy Roxy version, who has that great scene at the end, and the, Terezi, the only one Terezi, are also really good, I would say. Al's a really interesting character. Aradia's a treat, usually. It's really creepy, just Rose descending, having her free will taken away. Well, it's not... Like, the thing about Rose is that she's deciding this. She's being pushed to make this decision, and it is still partially her decision, but it's also not her decision she wouldn't have made. She wouldn't have done that if she wasn't being manipulated by Dirk. It's, like... It's complicated, but it's interesting. I forget where I was going. But yeah, epilogue's good. Vriska... Like, you have to look at Vriska being revived and the retcon through the lens of, this is Terezi reshaping the narrative. This is Terezi changing the story because she has been consumed with grief and regret. And after she does that, she is left feeling hollow and empty. She is not happy at the end of the story. She leaves because she feels empty, because she wants to find closure with Vriska. Like, the retcon, it's grown on me more and more as time goes on. The retcon is about Terezi. And I gotta write that Terezi video pretty soon. I gotta get that done. And let's just finish up Viridian Forest, and then I'll end this. But yeah, the point is, it's just a fucking piece of cloth. Get the fuck over yourself. Like, you should care more about the mass killings of civilians, you stupid fucking fascists in the United States government. Do I have a quip to end that off, or I'm just going to... Day of Apotheosis! I should mention that before I end this. That my game, I got a trailer for it. Hopefully that'll get some people to play it. This game, it's a good game. They worked my ass off. Not really. I put a lot of work in, but it was spread over a long enough time that wasn't a lot of work ever. at one point, but it's a very good game that you should play. It's an RPG, and I've described it a million times on this show. Go play my RPG, Day of Apotheosis. Go. And you know what? That's gonna... Actually, I should make it to Viridian unless there's trainers, because I like to do all the trainer battles on camera unless I lose any Pokemon to them. I'm gonna need to come back with a cutter. I didn't lose any Pokemon to Silver. This team, it's gotten stale. It's too good. Give me some death. Fucking Grim Reaper, show up and destroy this shit. Okay, and anything on Route 2? I don't think there should be anything on Route 2. There is a guy on Route 2. Congrats. You're not gonna attack me? If you're wondering why this is coming out Sunday, it's because I was busy with a thing on Saturday night. Went to a food festival yesterday. That was interesting. I eat a lot of food. Okay, I guess it isn't as interesting. And also, for my journalism job, just human interest story, went to a flea market. There's these annual flea markets in my area. I talked to some people, did interviews, took photos. Talked to one guy who had this massive collection of old retro Coke memorabilia, and I really like this just little interaction where he says, you know, I actually drink Pepsi. I don't like Coke, but I collect it because it's more iconic. And you know what? I like that. I like that attitude. No, I don't want your phone number. Just let me get to Viridian City. I'm on the road to Viridian City. Da-da-da-da. I should evolve my Murkrow. Like, I can get a Dusk Stone. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. I'll start off next time with doing that, I have decided. Yes. Earthquake the Beedrill. Kill the Beedrill. Wait, no, I can't kill the Butterfree except with Explosion, so I'm going to have to switch, and I was on such a good roll until I decided, oh, I'm going to end this after this battle, and then that started going, and that's what always happens. And then I've noticed that sometimes if I just hit the stop button, it will cut off like the last 30 seconds based on OBS, because it lingers on stop recording, because apparently that's because it's loading. So I'm not going to do that this time.